Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and today I want to give my impressions of the Another Code Recollection demo that Nintendo surprise released on the eShop last night. Now I say surprise, but we kind of knew this was coming. Puro, infamous leaker Puro on Twitter, had kind of alluded to a demo of this game dropping. A lot of people thought it would have been at the Game Awards, but no, it was just at 5 p.m. on a Thursday evening, and I decided to play it. I already have the game pre-ordered because I'm going for a full Nintendo published Switch set, so no matter what, I was going to buy it and try it out. But I decided to play the demo to really get a feel for what this game is like, because I basically knew nothing about Another Code until this was announced. So for those people out there that are watching this that are kind of like me and didn't know what Another Code is, this is a remake collection of a DS and a Wii game. In North America, the DS game was called Trace Memory, and we never got the Wii game in North America, but in Europe and in Japan, it's called Another Code. These games didn't review very well. I don't believe they sold very well, so it's very interesting that Nintendo has chosen this IP to go back to and remake for the Switch, but I'm very glad they did because I think diversifying the Switch's lineup in its 7th or 8th year is just a really cool idea in these final stages of the console's life, to release IP that maybe aren't necessarily system sellers, but for the hardcore fans, this is going to speak to them. But outside of the trailer, as well as maybe hearing the name Trace Memory over the years, I think there might be like an Ashley Spirit in Smash Brothers, right? I had very little knowledge of this franchise. However, I have to say, after playing it for an hour, that's about how long the demo is, I am completely hooked on the story. I am actually a little sad I played the demo in a way, because, you know, the story progress carries over to the full game, but the full game doesn't come out until January 19th, which means I have to wait a month to figure out what's going on with Ashley and Jessica and this ghost boy, and I want to know more now. It's actually funny though, because when I sat down to play this demo, like, yeah, I watched the trailer when it released back in September in that direct. Even the fact that there's supernatural elements to this plot, I honestly completely forgot that. So when a ghost boy popped up, I was like, oh, cool. I like this kind of stuff. I like stories like this, and just from the, hour or so I played, I'm definitely invested in the story and want to learn more. I have to say, though, it definitely feels a little weird playing a narrative-driven game published by Nintendo. In fact, I don't think I can say I've ever played a narrative-driven Nintendo-published game, because they really don't make many of them. In the DS and Wii era, I guess there were a little more, but as of late, I mean, Nintendo doesn't touch the stuff. They don't really touch even games with voice acting half the time, except for, I guess, Fire Emblem and Xenoblade, right? But those have even more gameplay elements than something like this, which is more of like a visual novel light. You can move around, you walk around, you solve puzzles, but the narrative and the voice acting and the characters and the drama, that is the focus of Another Code. I'm also definitely curious how long this game will end up being. I saw on How Long to Beat the original Another Code, or Trace Memory in the US. Apparently that game's about 4 to 5 hours. Just based on the fact that this is a full 3D remake of the game, I have to imagine the playtime is going to be spruced up a little bit. I have no issue with short games. In fact, I went to Metacritic. The game's reviewed pretty poorly. I think the first game had a 66 on Metacritic or something like that. A game being short is not a downside to me unless it's literally just too short. But if this is just a really solid 4 or 5 hour story, I'm fine with that. But I am curious to see if being just a full 3D remake will kind of make this game just play a little bit longer. So this demo is just for the first game, Another Code 2 Memories, which makes sense because the sequel is a direct sequel, right? And the story follows Ashley, who is about to turn 14, and she has never seen her dad, or at least she hasn't since she was a baby, right? And she gets this weird device in the mail, and her dad invites her to come to this Blood Edward Island. And it's this whole mystery of like who her dad is, who her mother is. And just from this opening hour of the game, they set up some pretty interesting plot threads, just like the fact that her dad is a neuroscientist who focused on memories. I can see them putting the pieces in motion. You know, when you meet D, this little ghost boy, he's talking about how he needs your help to find his memories and remember stuff, right? And as you play through the little bit with him that is in this demo, because it's towards the end, he already kind of starts piecing some stuff back together. There's one puzzle right at the end of the demo where like he remembers something and that helps you solve a puzzle. And I don't know, just from this very limited experience with the game, I can see how that's going to be a very interesting mechanic. Maybe not necessarily the most complex puzzles or anything, but just a feel-good kind of vibes-based adventure game. I mean, this is something Nintendo doesn't make, so to see a remake of this quality is just very exciting to me. Voice acting is something I was a little worried about just because Nintendo isn't known for putting much voice acting in their games, except for Xenoblade and Fire Emblem. Those are the two exceptions to that rule. The voice acting is good, although, and I noticed this in the reveal trailer back when it was announced, what is it with the voice acting in games like this that just have like a lot of mouth noises and groaning? It kind of comes off a little awkward at times, but if you can look past that, the voice acting and direction so far has been really good. And the visuals and the overall presentation for this game is just really nice. I really like these like cell shaded kind of 3D models, but also the actual comic book presentation when you are in those like dialogue heavy scenes and it kind of cuts in between the two characters. You know, you can tell it's made on a budget, right? It's not this, you know, high production value thing like something that Naughty Dog makes. But the way they splice it up and kind of make it feel a little bit more dynamic just with comic panels is a really interesting way to do that, and I think it does the job. So I really enjoyed this demo. I'm excited to play more when the game releases on January 19th, as well as play the sequel, which according to How Long to Beat is like 3 times as long as the first game. So that's why I'm kind of curious if maybe this first game will get a little bit more, I don't want to say bloated, but just maybe be a little bit longer than it was originally. I'm also curious how these games will review. So originally they reviewed, I think it was maybe a 70 for the first game and a 66 for the second game, or maybe reverse those numbers. Either way, they weren't received with the most praise. I'm curious if that was more of a product of being like a weird DS and Wii game at the time, or maybe they'll review a little bit better this time, because it seems very niche, right? I went to the new trailer they posted last night, and all the comments were being like, oh my god, Trace Memory, another code. This is my favorite DS game. This is my favorite Wii game. But the Metacritic score doesn't reflect that, so I'm curious how critics will kind of receive this game this time around, especially with this improved presentation. And I have to say, playing this demo definitely makes me interested in the other games developed by Sing. So Sing is a now defunct company, but they were the original developers of this game, as well as The Last Window and Hotel Dusk Room 215. I've never even heard of The Last Window until now, to be honest, when I was doing research for this video, but Hotel Dusk 215 is something I had always heard of and I always had heard praised. So it's kind of interesting that they made all these story-driven games and Nintendo published all of them. It's just kind of weird that Nintendo went so hard on this during the DS. So hopefully if another code sells well, they can go back and remake Hotel Dusk Room 215, because I think that's honestly probably the fan favorite of their games that they made back in the day. But also playing this definitely makes me interested in just checking out Famicom Detective Club. I have that game, I just haven't gotten around to playing it, and now that I have this month wait in between playing this demo and the release of another code, I'm kind of itching for a good story, so maybe I'll give those games a try finally. So that is going to do it for this first impressions of the Another Code demo. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you played the demo? Have you played the original versions? And if you have, let me know what you think. I mean, I'm curious, for anybody watching this, if you played the original game, how does this compare to that original version? I'm kind of tempted almost to buy a copy of the DS game on eBay or something and just play at least the opening just to see how it compares. Plus, for the collection, of course, it'd be nice to have that on the shelf. But I am curious how they changed the puzzles and the mechanics, and even just walking around. I've never even seen footage of the DS game, so in terms of how good of a remake this is, I can't really rate it based on that. But just as a game, a new player coming into this, viewing it pretty much as a new game, I very much pleasantly enjoyed my time with the demo, and I'm excited to play the full game. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch reviews, news, coverage, all of that fun stuff. I know a video like this probably won't do as well as covering Smash Brothers or Mario Kart or Pokemon, but I love most games Nintendo publishes, so I even want to cover the more niche stuff on this channel. So subscribe if you want to see more videos like this on more niche Nintendo franchises, and until next time, folks, peace!